So when couples come to me for counseling, the issue of communication usually comes up. How well do you communicate with your spouse? So if I ask you and your spouse to rate your communication on a 1 to 10 scale, with 10 being awesome, how would you rate it? Would you rate it the same or different? If different, how different? Tom and Mandy came to counseling because of extended family issues. In the second session, I asked them about their communication. Tom said, it's great. It's a 9 or a 10. Mandy sat there quietly with concerned look on her face, and finally she said, 5, maybe 6 at best. So in general, I've seen that husbands tend to rate the communication in their marriage higher than their wives do. Why? Well, I'm not sure, but I think a man's need for verbal communication is usually not as high as his wife's. He needs it, but probably not as much as she does. Good communication draws a wife to her husband. And so when she feels listened to and she feels understood, it's a huge boost for the marriage. So back to Tom and Mandy. After Mandy gave her 5 or 6 rating, I asked her what would it take to boost it to a 7. She said she really wanted Tom to listen to her and to interact with her more with what she was saying. She said sometimes that she just felt like he listened to her the way he did to the TV, a one-sided conversation that could be turned off any time. That week, their counseling homework was to spend 10 minutes every day communicating. Both were to talk and both were to listen. Both were to ask questions and both were to interact. As they returned to counseling the next week, it was obvious things had improved. How do you know when you are not communicating well with your spouse? Well, here are a few bullet points so you can use this as a guide. Do you feel more or less connected with your spouse after conversations? If less, you're probably not communicating very well. If your spouse is often complaining that you don't listen to him or her, probably not communicating very well. If you avoid each other, well, you're probably not communicating at all. If you don't have a daily time to talk, time goes by and you become farther and farther apart and it's harder to connect. You're not communicating well. So today, both of you rate your communication in your marriage. Once you've done this, what do your results tell you? If it's good, keep it up. You're doing things right. But if not, take step 1 to make it better. It could be setting aside time each day to talk. It could be eliminating any and all distractions when you're talking. It could be listening better to each other. It could be a trip to the counselor. Whatever steps it is, whatever you need to take that first step now.